Hello, 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 everyone. This is Dr. Garrett Smith, the nutrition detective around these here YouTube parts, and we are here with another live stream. For those of you who were patiently waiting for us to start, sorry we had some technical difficulties that we had not had to this point yet. And as you know, going live is has its moments. So anyway, what today's topic is well, we have first off, if you haven't heard yet, we have our new fancy magnesium lotion for sale in the store. This is something I've been developing. It took 20 months and 18 different formulations to get it right. And if for those of you who aren't aware of my pickiness and my requirements for supplements, I'm quite picky. We're trying to do no additives wherever we can. We're trying to do minimal additives like maybe rice flour in future supplements if we have to, but we're really trying to not even do that. If we're going to use anything rice based, we're going to get it arsenic tested and make sure that that's okay. And so anyway, with a magnesium lotion, many of you may have tried magnesium lotions out on the market, or you've tried magnesium oil, or you've tried baths, or you've tried foot soaks, and all of them have their benefits and drawbacks. So I found in my working with many clients with topical magnesium over, gosh, what are we at? I mean, I've been in practice since 2006 now. So I've been around a bit and I've used lots of different magnesiums, and I have found even previously, before we came up with this amazing magnesium lotion product, that magnesium lotion was the best approach that people were able to be the most compliant with, that they liked the best, or that it didn't cause them inconvenience or gross feelings on their skin or stuff like that. So this is really a big deal. We've gotten amazing testimonials so far. Some of them are on the website already. It's some of the issues with magnesium lotions previously have been they're greasy, or they kind of leave like a heavy feeling on the skin, or some people even say they sting, which one of the reasons I liked magnesium lotion so much was because for most people there isn't a sting. Well, some people were telling me that they still would sting from the other previous magnesium lotions out there, and they're telling us that they do not have any stinging sensation from ours. So topical magnesium is the topic today. And yes, I am talking about my product first because it does have twice the magnesium of any other lotion on the market, basically. It's got some lactoferrin in it. It absorbs really well. People say there's no leftovers on the skin. So if you want to try it, hey, head over to the shop. Joe's been putting up the link. And if you're a Love Your Liver member, make sure to go to the VIP store, the back end of the store, where you can get your Love Your Liver discounts, because members of the program get the discounts. That's members.nutritiondetective.com. So just again, this stuff is amazing. The early reports of pain relief from it, sleep improvements from it, mood improvements from it, it's just been really amazing. It does have, as we'll go over today, it does have a little bit of lactoferrin in it. This is our, fancy lactoferrin, the ingredient stuff, which we import. We're in the process of importing more right now for our lactoferrin capsules, because it sells so fast. We're having trouble keeping it on hand, and getting shipments all the way from France over here has been somewhat of a pain, even when we've done all our due diligence to be early with it. So please forgive us about the lactoferrin. It is our most popular product, and we are working our butt off to get it back. Julie's about having a coronary because she wants to have it in stock so bad. So anyway, but there's, just so you guys know, if you're worried about lactoferrin, because I talk about how strong it is in the lotion. This whole lotion has about 2 capsules worth of lactoferrin in it. And I haven't heard anybody having sensitivity issues to that. So it's a very small amount in there. And everybody seems to be fine with it so far. So anyway, let's get into magnesium. First, I just wanted to cover some basics about magnesium before I get into I'm like today, you're in for a treat because I'm going to go into all the topical magnesium approaches that I like or that I've used. I'm going to go into the benefits and the drawbacks of each one. I'm going to go into troubleshooting if you're having issues with any of them. Like if you are working with me or if you are in the Love Your Liver program, I am pretty much going to be suggesting topical magnesium to you. I don't care what your hair test says. If you're doing well, I'm going to have you do it. If you're low in magnesium relative to your calcium on the hair test, I'm going to have you do it. If you got your hair test contaminated with magnesium from, let's say, putting your hair in the bath, I'm going to have you still do topical magnesium. Now, if you are one of the people who is sensitive to, let's say, topical magnesium, magnesium chloride, or even baths of Epsom salts, we're going to talk about troubleshooting that too. So this one, you better buckle in. This may be like a 3-hour show again, because this is a really important topic and I haven't done it in a while. And I'll probably make this so I can put it in the Love Your Liver program so everybody can reference it there and they can get this information and it's all in one place. So sometimes just having me go right off the cuff for hours is just the best way to get the information, because for me to write all this down, it just takes too long. Hold on one sec. Let me see. Oh yeah. Okay. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. So what we're going to go over first, people want to know, what is magnesium good for? So I'm going to go over some of the basics. Let me share my screen here so Joe has it, because that was another little technical thing that we forgot to set up beforehand today. So there it goes. So here it is. So first, what I wanted to go over before we get into all of this, well, this is just a simple thing. I'm going to go over the leading causes of death in the United States. And we're going to connect them to magnesium just to show you that like magnesium deficiency is everywhere and it's connected to everything. This doesn't mean magnesium is going to fix everything by itself. It means that magnesium deficiency is almost guaranteed to be a part of all chronic disease. And even you'll see acute disease here. Hold on. Here, okay. Got Joe's reminding me to share my, let me see. Wait. Let me get it. Where's my pop-out chat? There it is. Got it. Got to share my link so everybody can go check my references. So anyway, so we're looking here at the leading causes of death in the U.S. For some reason, I can't see my screen very well today. It's very gray, so I'm going to have to look at my phone to see Joe's Telegram messages. So we're looking here at the number of deaths, the leading causes of death in the U.S., right? They may have accidentally left out the third leading cause of death in the U.S., which is conventional medicine-related deaths. I think they just left that out on accident. Just an accident. Pretty little accident. Heart disease. Well, anybody who knows anything about heart disease knows magnesium deficiency is connected to heart disease. We got cancer, the coof, the scary coof, which is the flu, which is, if you've been here listening to Toxic Bile Theory and you understand this, the flu and the cold is just toxic bile dumping into your system. All right, Joe's asking me to make it bigger. It is, you are dumping your own toxic stuff that was stored in your liver right into the system. And you feel bad because of it. It's not some scary pathogen that's doing it to you. You are self-poisoning yourself with the toxins that you have stored in your liver over years, decades, your entire life. From before you were born, let's say you were born with jaundice, your liver's already full of garbage. Nothing, no judgment. It just is what it is. If you buy an old car and it's gunked up and it doesn't work well, you bought a car that's gunked up. If you were born with a gunked up liver, it is what it is. The only thing you can do now is try to fix it, and that's what we do. So we got accidents. I'm not going to go over accidents in terms of magnesium because that's, but we got stroke. I didn't hit on the lung stuff. We'll hit on the coof and which is lung stuff and that. And then we'll go over Alzheimer's a little bit. Diabetes. Let me just make this very simple. If a person has diabetes or blood sugar issues, especially tending towards what we would call low blood sugar or hypoglycemia episodes, maybe between 10 to noon, maybe between 2 to 4 p.m., maybe waking up in the middle of the night between 2 to 4 a.m., you got a magnesium deficiency. So before we get into all these other studies, I'm going to basically tell you that topical magnesium that you absorb, topical or transdermal magnesium that you absorb through your skin directly into your bloodstream and tissues, in my humble professional opinion, is 10 times as effective as pills. People come to me all the time. They've been taking pills of magnesium. Oh, I've been taking magnesium for years. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's see your hair test. And I'll tell you if it's working or not. And we get their hair test. I had a guy, he was on multiple pills. He was on magnesium citrate. He was on magnesium malate. He was on magnesium threonate. He was on like 3 or 4 different types of magnesium, taking like 5 or 6 pills a day. And I get his hair test and his magnesium still sucks. I'm going to tell you that based on testing and my general keeping track of this stuff in my head, maybe about 1 out of every 20 people can maintain good magnesium levels with pills alone. Now, if you decide to take the risk and you think you're just like, I'm just not going to use topical because I just don't like it, then you may not be one of the people who can maintain your magnesium levels with pills alone, and then you'll pay the price of being magnesium deficient, even though you're shoving it down your cake hole. Okay, it's just the reality. Pills of oral magnesium is best for helping you poop, not for raising your levels. Topical magnesium is best for raising your levels, and it doesn't really help you poop that much. I mean, over time it will, but like if you wanted to poop in an hour, you can just take a lot of oral magnesium. And if you take enough magnesium orally, you will poop. Fixing your magnesium levels long-term by raising your levels in general will eventually help you poop more. But it's not like that day. Okay? So let's get into... Oh, this is just another 10 leading causes of death. Don't need that. So first thing I wanted to go over, actually, wait, there was one other thing. Hold on, let me find it. Yeah, here. Yes, this one, simple one. Magnesium in human health, perspectives and research directions. Okay, let me get this link. And if you guys have questions or super chats on, let's try to keep it to magnesium today. Okay. Not too many random questions about other topics. I don't know if I'm going to have time to get to too many questions, but if you want to send a super chat, I'm going to guess that's probably all we'll be able to get to. Send it about, if it's about magnesium, that's great. If it's about another topic, save it for another day. Okay. And don't forget, yes, please post in the live chat. Yes, please leave comments afterwards, like and subscribe and all that magic stuff that helps the algorithmic overlords know that they should share this with more people. Okay, so here we go. Magnesium is the 4th most abundant cation. They're really just meaning mineral. The 4th most abundant mineral in the body. It has several functions in the human body, including its role as a cofactor for more than 300 enzymatic reactions. So I'm going to take a second here. When they try to say that, like, when we talk about vitamin A as only a toxin here, and it's not a true vitamin, one of the ways you can kind of look at things and know it's not really, like, the science on it is not really good is like with supposed vitamin A deficiency, there's like 2 main symptoms that they say are supposedly related to it: night blindness and dry eye. But as I went over in my vitamin A deficiency doesn't exist thread on Twitter, and I think I did a video here too, both of those symptoms can be shown with like zinc deficiency, protein deficiency, and taurine deficiency, which usually just means they're not getting enough of those in the rat diet because they feed them casein dairy protein that has no zinc, it has no taurine, it's a crappy form of protein, and it still has tons of vitamin A in it. That's why if you ever get to go look at the research food that they feed to mice and rats and they say it's a vitamin A free powder, it's yellow. It's yellowish. There is tons of vitamin A in it. It's just not the form that they measure. So when they say that they're giving animals vitamin A deficiency in studies, they're really actually giving them vitamin A toxicity and zinc deficiency and taurine deficiency and potentially protein deficiency. I don't think they actually published a paper on the importance of zinc in animal research diets until about 12 years after they supposedly discovered vitamin A deficiency. It's a crock. It's a lie. We're trying to fix it. So anyway, so we have magnesium here as a cofactor in 300 reactions that they can show. Whereas vitamin A is like, oh, maybe you'll get these symptoms. Okay. And then I show in the vitamin A deficiency doesn't exist thread about how tons of people have like super low vitamin A and babies are born with zero vitamin A and they have no health problems whatsoever. Grant Genereux's eyes haven't fallen out of his head, and he's been on a low vitamin A diet for going on 9 years now. Vitamin A is a hoax. So let's go. Several studies have shown that hypomagnesemia, low magnesium in the blood, is a common electrolyte derangement in clinical settings, especially in patients admitted to intensive care units, where it has been found to be associated with increased mortality, that's more death, and hospital staying longer in the hospital. Hypomagnesemia can be caused by a wide range of inherited and acquired diseases. Or is it that magnesium deficiency is part of the cause of the disease? That's more like it. But can diseases cause magnesium deficiency? Sure, you got like vomiting, diarrhea. Sure, yeah, you could deplete it. It can also be a side effect of several medications. The number of medications is probably obscene. Many studies have reported that reduced levels of magnesium are associated with a wide range of chronic diseases. We'll do that today. Magnesium can play an important therapeutic and preventative role in several conditions such as diabetes, osteoporosis, bronchial asthma, preeclampsia, migraine, and cardiovascular diseases. Well, I've done a whole toxic bile theory show here on the live stream on, I think I did preeclampsia. We did breathing 1 week. We did diet. I think we've covered diabetes and copper and vitamin A and all that. So I was thinking osteoporosis should probably be maybe our next show. So anyway, moving on. Let's see. Not that one. Oh, wait. Yeah. This is the heart disease one. Okay. So this is the heart disease continued. So what we like to do here is it's really best. We love to show that a deficiency causes a problem and that supplementing it fixes it, or a higher intake fixes it. That's about as scientific as we can be, where people they beg to be spoon-fed. They want science to just show everything. Double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trial. And we can't always get that. So unless you want to wait 40 years for the captured medical research industry to try to show that you're sick because of nutrient deficiencies or toxicities, I'm going to say I wouldn't hold your breath, because that's not in their business model. That doesn't help you spend less money on your health or be healthier, because they want you to spend more money on your health and be sicker, so you spend more money on your health. Okay? The medical industry is not trying to get rid of customers. We'll put it that way. They love more customers and customers coming more often. So let's see if they had anything in here. I didn't have time to go over this. Oh, this is Let's see. Here we go. Observational data have shown an association between low serum magnesium concentrations or magnesium intake and increased atherosclerosis, hardening of the arteries, coronary artery disease, arrhythmias, and heart failure. Okay. Let me explain something about atherosclerosis too, okay? The hardening of the arteries. You always keep hearing it's cholesterol. Cholesterol, it blocks your arteries. No. What they don't tell you is that your hardening of your arteries is calcification. Okay. Almost any disease that if you know you have it, or if you want to go look at it, other than osteoporosis, where you're losing the calcium out of your bones, you can go and look up calcification. Go and type in like prostate cancer radiology calcification, breast cancer radiology calcification. Whatever disease you want to go do. You could probably type in diabetes, pancreas, radiology, calcification, and you'll find images of every single disease that's like where an organ is getting damaged. You could go and type it in with liver diseases, cirrhosis, calcification, radiology. Okay. Gallbladder. We'll go into that today, where magnesium helps gallstones, stones, calcium. Okay. So, hardening the arteries is calcification. You want to know the biggest evidence of this? When they want to measure your carotid artery to see how blocked it is, what's the test they use? It's called a coronary calcium score. They measure how much calcium is in your coronary artery to tell you how blocked it is. Are they measuring cholesterol deposits? No, they tell you what they're measuring in the name. When they do x-rays on you to see if they can find a disease in you, what do they see really well? Like, why do they use x-rays to look for bone fractures? Because calcium shows up really, really brightly on an x-ray. So when they find diseases in your organs, what do you think they're seeing? They're seeing calcifications. What is the mineral that is best at dissolving calcifications? That would be magnesium. Why do you think if you have an achy joint that's calcifying and you put magnesium on it, it feels better for a little while? Because you're getting the calcium to come down. Okay. In the area, you're dissolving the calcium, you're moving the calcium out of that area, and it feels better. Gosh, why does magnesium help sleep? Because you got too much calcium and copper and all these other things keeping you awake. So let's keep going. Dietary magnesium and cardiovascular disease. Wait. Let me see. Let me see what Joe's saying. Good. Let me get this. Okay, Joe can hear me now. This is great. Okay. Let's keep going. We concluded that high magnesium, I call it mag sometimes, high magnesium intake is associated with a lower risk of major cardiovascular risk factors, mainly metabolic syndrome, that's prediabetes, diabetes, and hypertension, stroke, and total cardiovascular disease. Higher levels of circulating magnesium are associated with lower risk of cardiovascular disease, mainly ischemic heart disease and coronary heart disease. Huh. Didn't I do this one, Joe? Anyway, I'll do it again. Just to make sure we get the info out there. Okay, so now we're going to hammer this home. Heart disease is very much magnesium deficiency, folks. Okay, so what do we got here? Magnesium for the prevention of and treatment of cardiovascular disease. In industrialized Western countries, a low intake of magnesium often predisposes to a high prevalence of magnesium deficiency. Duh. Increasing the risk of cardiovascular events and cardiovascular death. That sounds bad. Leading cause of disease in this country. Extremely connected to magnesium deficiency. Magnesium deficiency helps correct calcium excess in the tissues and in the blood. Okay. What causes calcium excess? Vitamin A toxicity, vitamin D supplements, calcium supplements, copper toxicity. Eating dairy is like a perfect storm of calcium problems. And eating, just so for all the people who are like, raw dairy, yay. Okay. Health practitioners have been taking people off dairy to try to help their health issues long before raw dairy or pasteurized dairy or homogenized dairy was ever an issue. When you just think of, do people eat dairy? Are people going to keep eating dairy? Yeah, I'm not saying that to never eat dairy again, but I am saying that dairy is like, it's like liquid phlegm that you're drinking. You're like just putting mucus into your system that it's going to come out as mucus and clog up everything. And then you got vitamin A and vitamin D and calcium and all these other issues. There is vitamin A in the fat of dairy. There is vitamin A in the casein protein of dairy, and there is vitamin A in the whey protein of dairy. And Grant and I have both shown the papers that show this. So it's not just, it's only in the fat. So if you thought like, oh, I'll get skim milk and it won't have any vitamin A in it. No, it's got casein and whey in it. So dietary magnesium and cardiovascular disease. I'm going to run through this real quick. Let's see. Oh, did we already go over this one? Sorry, I already hit this one. Don't need that one again. Let's do this just a little bigger. Subclinical magnesium deficiency, a principal driver of cardiovascular disease and public health crisis. Okay. I want you to understand a key word here. Subclinical. This is so important. Subclinical means your doctor's not going to find it. That's what they mean. They're like, our doctors are looking for it and they don't find it. Well, first of all, how many times have you gone to a doctor and gotten a magnesium test on your blood tests? Do they ever do that for you? Maybe you've got a good doctor who you can ask, do I use blood magnesium tests? No, I find them actually pretty bad, even the red blood cell test ones. I think blood tests for magnesium are garbage, waste of your money. I just had somebody the other day who had a high red blood cell magnesium test. And on their hair test, their calcium to magnesium ratio still sucked. And they felt better when they took magnesium. So let's go over this. I look at the hair test calcium to magnesium ratio. I want the magnesium. I want a really good cal-mag ratio. I want like 3 to 7. So that means calcium relative to magnesium, it's like a 3 to 1 or 7 to somewhere between 3 to 1 and 7 to 1. So if you on a hair test, if you divide your calcium number by your magnesium number on a hair test, I want that between 3 to 7. That's the first thing we fix. And how do you do that? You usually get more magnesium. That's the way we fix it. But we also do all those other things I mentioned. So subclinical means your doctors aren't going to find it with a really crappy serum magnesium test, with a tiny bit less crappy red blood cell magnesium test. Hair testing long term is the best indicator of magnesium deficiency relative to the amount of calcium floating around. Okay, you could have low calcium on a hair test and even lower magnesium, and you'll still be calcifying. I don't care that the overall calcium is low. If you do not have enough magnesium relative to calcium, you are calcifying. And we fix that. So, subclinical, they don't find it. Oh, wait. When do we talk about this? Because serum magnesium does not reflect intracellular magnesium. Oh, wait, you mean the level in the tissues is not the same as the level in the blood? Where have you heard that before? The latter making up more than 99% of total body magnesium. Most cases of magnesium are undiagnosed. Let's just see. Subclinical, that they are not finding magnesium deficiency, increases the risk of numerous types of cardiovascular disease, costs nations around the world an incalculable amount of healthcare costs and suffering, and should be considered a public health crisis. That an easy they're saying this is what the authors are saying. This is so dumb that we're not doing this already. That an easy, cost-effective strategy exists to prevent and treat subclinical magnesium deficiency should provide an urgent call to action. They're basically saying magnesium supplements exist. Why aren't we using them for basically everybody? I don't know. Is it because they want fewer people on the planet? That would be my guess. Like, right? Let's do more statins. That'll fix it. It's worked so well so far. Okay. So now we're into the next subject. The next one on that list was cancer. Okay. Hypomagnesium in patients with cancer, the forgotten ion. What do we got here? It's a magnesium is crucial for various cellular and enzymatic processes, yet it is often overlooked or underappreciated. Hypomagnesemia, a deficiency of magnesium in the blood, is a frequent problem in cancer patients. Now, they just said subclinical was everywhere, and they have cancer patients here, and they're actually able to find it. It's common. It's in everybody. Can lead to severe symptoms and morbidity. So they're saying that they're basically, I'm not going to go into the details of the paper, but they're saying it's normal for cancer patients to be deficient in magnesium. Where's my piece? There we go. So that means if everybody's out there, you're deficient in magnesium. Now, if you don't react well to magnesium, that's a separate issue, and we're going to go over that. One of the ways you can help fix your magnesium, if you can't take it, is to stop screwing up your calcium with vitamin A, vitamin D, copper, and excess calcium supplements, or trying to eat really high calcium foods. Because if you don't have as much calcium floating through the system, you don't need as much magnesium. So we can fix these problems both ways, you understand? We can stop putting in the things that are causing the deficiency. High calcium causes a magnesium deficiency. Or we could supplement it, try to get more in the diet. But the diet, in terms of magnesium, folks, if you are trying to get your magnesium deficiency fixed with food alone, you are pissing in the wind. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. And if you're like been misled by Ray Peat and you're like, coffee's high in magnesium. No, it's never worked ever in the history of anything. No, chocolate doesn't fix your magnesium deficiency. You can just stop fooling yourself. You live in this world today, you're probably going to need a magnesium supplement. Maybe you do the magnesium lotion I make, maybe you don't. Other people in the program are going to be doing all sorts of different approaches that they like the best, and we're going to go over those. So, we also examine the causes and mechanisms of magnesium imbalances in cancer patients. I love how they call it an imbalance. Specifically focusing on cancer-specific therapies that can lead to magnesemia. Oh, I don't know, like frying somebody with radiation or giving them toxic chemo? Why would those cause deficiencies? Finally, we provide updates on the management of hypomagnesemia, including oral and parenteral supplementation. I'm not care about the next part where they're going to talk about giving them drugs. That's only going to make it worse. Okay. So here, let's go to the next one. Trying to run through these fast. So basically, how much magnesium people get, total dietary and supplemental magnesium intakes, and risk of all-cause cardiovascular and cancer mortality. Okay. Let me do this. Wait, wrong button. There we go. Okay. Just get down here. In conclusion, higher intake of dietary magnesium was associated with a reduced risk of all-cause death from any and all causes and cancer mortality, but not cardiovascular disease mortality. But wait, we just found all these other papers that say it. This is just lunacy. Supplemental and total magnesium intakes were not associated with the risk of all-cause cardiovascular disease and cancer mortality. Does that make any sense? Don't you just, this is where you go, wait, what were you guys looking for? You didn't find, wait, so higher intake may, there, anyway, I can't tell you. You guys, if you guys in the comments want to say in the chat or in the comments later, if you want to say the impact that supplemental magnesium of any form, I don't care. I mean, there are, like I said, there are some people who get away with magnesium pills and they work okay, or they might take a liquid magnesium like a magnesium citrate. There's a common one out there. Those can help. You can feel better from them. I'm going to tell you that they don't raise your levels as well as topical magnesium does. So let's just take this last line. These findings indicate that consumption of magnesium from dietary sources may be beneficial in reducing all-cause and cancer mortality and thus have a practical importance for public health. I'm going to tell you that like foods don't do it. But it's weird that they would just tell everybody that foods are going to be just fine. So in their research, more magnesium coming in helped. I'm not going to argue that. Do I think that we can make it better? Yes. Which supplements are, what kind of supplements are they likely talking about here? Pills. Am I here telling you that pills don't work that well? Yes. Do you see how it all fits together? Sorry, I'm making my table rock. And dietary magnesium and risk of cancer. Why is my glass not working all of a sudden? Oh, whatever. Let's refresh this bad boy. There, it works now. Hey, we're figuring it out. Okay. Let me put this link in there. Our meta-analysis showed that higher dietary magnesium intake seems to have a protective effect for cancer, especially colorectal cancer and in females. Hey, what would be good to help prevent you from getting colorectal cancer? Would it be pooping? What do I tell you that magnesium by mouth is really good at helping you do? Pooping. When you have stuff sitting in your guts a really long time, it's just fermenting, it's rotting, it's putrefying, you're soaking up more bile from it, you're reabsorbing more bile. And it just causes all sorts of problems. So constipation is one of the big things we go over in the program. And I highly support oral magnesium use to help people poop when they're having trouble. And we'll just move on from there. So that was cancer. No. Oh, I just looked into, for those of you with gallbladder problems, I was looking into bile. There's not a lot of in research on bile and magnesium. But since we talk about toxic bile theory quite a bit, I thought I'd go over, let's see if I could find magnesium stuff connected to bile. Long-term effect of magnesium consumption on the risk of symptomatic gallstone disease among men. Background: magnesium deficiency can cause dyslipidemia, that's cholesterol and triglyceride problems, and insulin hypersecretion. Wow, why would you secrete too much insulin? Because you're insulin resistant, which is the lead up to pre-diabetes and diabetes. And what am I telling you that magnesium fixes? It's part of it, which may facilitate gallstone formation. Wait. So if we're talking toxic bile theory and we're connecting, they're saying gallstones, a problem of toxic bile coagulating basically in your gallbladder, is connected to magnesium deficiency and diabetes and blood sugar problems. It's all connected. I don't know if you guys remember, but I showed a paper that diabetics had twice as much bile in their blood. You're not supposed to have bile in your blood. And if you're here and you're wondering about bile and stuff like that, and you haven't seen a lot of my episodes, go and watch either episode number 53 or episode number 71. And that kind of gives the overview of toxic bile theory. Today, we're going a little higher level because I'm just trying to do magnesium. I'm not trying to give the whole refresher of toxic bile theory because it doesn't necessarily fit today. So what do we see here? Our findings suggest a protective role of magnesium consumption in the prevention of symptomatic gallstone disease among men. So magnesium helps gallstones, which are problems of bile. Here, next one, magnesium. Does a mineral prevent gallstones? Gallstone-related disorders are common and costly. but preventative measures are largely unexplored and cheap. Lifestyle risk factors include physical activity, obesity, or overweight. I've been over here, vitamin A toxicity connected to overweight, copper toxicity connected to overweight. There's reasons for all of this, folks. And obviously, I'm not going to avoid the ultra processed foods and the seed oils and all that stuff. I mean, those are all part of it. If you're eating ultra processed foods, I mean, you're just not going to be healthy. We kind of work at a higher level here. We're like, that's obvious. Don't eat ultra processed foods. Like, don't microwave your foods. Don't do that. These are things that I don't always address because they're so low level. Like there's NPC health people on Instagram saying, don't microwave your food. Like, that's easy. Don't do that crap. We're raising the bar here. Increasing consumption of magnesium appears to decrease the risk of symptomatic gallstones in men, although the underlying mechanisms remain unclear. It's calcium. It's a calcium-related problem. All stones. It doesn't mean that all stones are made of calcium, but calcium is causing a big part of the problem. Like when you think of kidney stones, calcium oxalate. Yes, there's oxalate, and yes, that can contribute to it. But what is the body binding to the oxalate that's getting stuck in the kidney stones? It's calcium. Okay. Degradable magnesium. This is great. This is like brilliant. And will he ever do this in medicine? No way. Degradable magnesium implants inhibit gallbladder cancer. I want you to understand what they're going to do here. So when we talk about supplementation, they're talking about gallstones, and we're talking about gallbladder cancer. Biodegradable magnesium is expected to one of the promising candidates for degradable biliary stents. So they're going to put a stent, something that holds open the bile duct, so that these bile ducts are getting closed. Kind of like blood vessels calcify shut. Like if you have pipes in your house and they keep developing deposits on the inside, you know how the tube just keeps shrinking? Okay. This happens in any tube in your body. You've heard of spinal stenosis? Spinal stenosis is the tube, the open bony tube that goes up your spine is calcifying around your spine and closing in on your spine. Your blood vessels calcifying, close in on the blood flow. Eventually you get a clot. Okay. Your gallbladder and your bile ducts can calcify shut and the tube gets smaller. So what does medicine do? They put in a stent. It's like a little frame that holds open the tube. Okay. That's what it does. Hold on. Joe was asking me if this could be a pinched nerve thing as well. It's possible. It depends on where it's going through. Yes. But yeah, if you calcify shut any tube that's supposed to be open in the body, it will eventually pinch off whatever is there. And the nerves in your spine come out through, kind of bony holes. And if those start calcifying shut, yeah, they could pinch it. Yeah, absolutely. So they're going to put, what do I tell you dissolves calcium deposits? Magnesium. They're going to put a magnesium-based stent in here that dissolves. Gosh, do you think your body's getting usable magnesium from that? Our findings indicate that magnesium biliary stent possesses the function of draining bile and treating gallbladder cancer. Treating gallbladder cancer. I tell you, cancer is a storage area of toxicity. And they just told you that if they put in a way to drain the bile duct, which would be, if it's not draining right, it's backing up bile. Gosh, even the gallbladder, which is designed to hold bile. You have no idea. Ladies, especially because you guys get gallbladder issues more than men. You have to understand how toxic your bile is to actually ruin the part of the body that is made, that's a sac to hold your bile. Imagine how toxic your bile is, that it's ruining the very sac in your body designed to hold it. And then when they put a stent in to hold open the tube that has been calcifying and closing shut, gallbladder cancer is treated. suggesting that magnesium has good application prospects in biliary surgery. They're putting in magnesium wire implants that biodegrade. I want you to wrap your head around this. This is a form of, in a way, like topical magnesium. They're putting magnesium on the area. You understand what I mean? Like, I know it's not topical, it's not on your skin, but it's inside and they're directly applying magnesium to it. Let me go in here. Let's make this quick. So that's bile, the bile connection. Let's go into, oh wait, I got to bring my thing up again. And where's Joe? There he is. Sorry, I got my windows messed up. Okay. The coof. Let's go over the coof. So let's say this is a horribly severe flu that is related to your dumping of toxic bile and leaking it into your system. The relevance of magnesium homeostasis in the coof. In this scoping review, we aim at encouraging a deeper appreciation of magnesium in clinical nutrition in view of the vital role of magnesium and the numerous links between the pathophysiology of SARS-CoV-2 infection and magnesium-dependent functions. Okay, let's keep going. The coof pandemic. Is there a role for magnesium? Hypotheses and perspectives. So they're basing this on research that they could find. There's a journal, Magnesium Research. So they've devoted a whole journal to magnesium, basically. Some aspects of the pathogenesis of the disease recall events occurring in magnesium deficiency. So wait, Anthony Mawson can go and show in his paper about the coof about how vitamin A toxicity symptoms match everything in the coof. Vitamin A, retinoic acid can cause every single symptom of the coof. Where do you store vitamin A? In your liver. What am I telling you that coof is? You dump a bunch of toxic stored bile from your liver. It leaks into your system. It has vitamin A in it. And Anthony Mawson wrote a paper showing all the coof symptoms can be connected to retinoic acid. And then what if I show you, I have a video on this channel that vitamin A depletes magnesium. And then they're showing here that the more deficient you are in magnesium, the worse the symptoms. Are you putting it all together? This is why it's not just one thing. It was never just one thing. Such as, these are things that happen in a magnesium deficiency, such as a drop of T cells, increased plasma concentration of inflammatory cytokines, and endothelial dysfunction. This would be how you get atherosclerosis or cardiovascular disease. We hypothesized that a low magnesium status, which is rather common, and they even said, it's subclinical. They don't find it. So it's common to find, and they say that it's hard to find, might foment or worsen the transition from mild to critical clinical manifestations of the disease. Okay. Did I post that one? Yes, I did. So we're just going through the diseases, remember, that are related to magnesium deficiency. Are we already at, oh, wow. Yeah, we started late. Stroke. I'm going to do this one fast. So we have magnesium in clinical stroke. Here it says second leading cause of death and the leading cause of disability worldwide. So remember, stroke is like a heart attack of the brain, right? It's a blood clot that blocks blood flow to your brain. Whereas a heart attack is a stroke, is a blood clot that blocks blood flow to certain parts of your heart. So they're the same problem. You understand? So heart disease and stroke are basically the same manifestation of a problem. It's just happening in a different area. In acute stroke, so acute, like right then, 8 pilot clinical trials of magnesium sulfate, which they use it for IVs. I don't like sulfate. Sulfur is not good for your detox system. But as I've said before, if you got to save somebody's life and you got to use something a little toxic to save their life, that's fine. But as soon as you get out of that hospital, don't use Epsom salts, in my opinion. Don't use magnesium sulfate IVs. If you're an ND out there running IVs, don't give mag sulfate if you can avoid it. And the subset of pilot trials with randomized controls have shown favorable effects on clinical outcome point estimates. They've already had the stroke, and they're giving them magnesium, and they're showing favorable outcomes. How deficient do you think they are in magnesium? The first phase 3 trial of magnesium sulfate for focal stroke was the intravenous magnesium efficacy in stroke trial, hampered by late administration of the study agent. So they're saying they weren't able to give the magnesium early enough. Images overall produced a neutral result, but exploratory analysis identified early, under 3-hour, lacunar stroke, hemorrhagic stroke, and severely hypertensive patients as having a potential differential beneficial response to magnesium that deserve further investigation. Well, what if they just supplemented magnesium for 5 years before that? Do you think they're going to have stroke? Probably. Who knows? Maybe not at all. The effect of magnesium intake on stroke incidence, a systematic review and meta-analysis with trial sequential analysis. Like this one. Yeah, I think I just got one line here. Conclusions: increasing magnesium intake may be a crucial component of stroke prevention that acts in a dose-dependent manner. The more magnesium that you get, the less likely you are to have a stroke. Simple as that. Come on, let's get up there. There we go. Magnesium intake and all-cause mortality after stroke. Oops, wait. Cohort study. Let's get down here. Stroke survivors who consumed adequate amounts of magnesium from diet and supplements had a lower risk of all-cause mortality, death from any cause. And they're just looking at dietary magnesium. Imagine if you can get your magnesium better through supplementation. Let's see, is this it? And then, so down that list of diseases, there was Alzheimer's, a brain disease, right? Brain diseases, if you didn't know, are toxic bile eating away at your brain. Toxicity in your brain, deficiencies in your brain, that's what these things are. So, magnesium status in Alzheimer's disease, a systematic review. In conclusion, Alzheimer's disease seems to be associated with a lower magnesium status when compared to healthy controls. Good enough for me. I don't know if I looked at this one or not. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Magnesium in Alzheimer's disease. Magnesium levels were found to be decreased in various tissues of Alzheimer's disease patients and negatively correlated with clinical deterioration. So, I want you to understand negatively correlated. I'll explain this every time. Negatively correlated means that as, let's say, clinical deterioration, so they're deteriorating faster, this is going up. Deterioration is going up. They had lower levels of magnesium. You understand? So higher levels of magnesium would be lower clinical deterioration. Various tissues of Alzheimer's disease. So they're just deficient all over the place. Okay. So one more here. So now we're talking about supplementation. Magnesium may be an effective therapy for Alzheimer's disease. Well, let's just take their last line here. Undeniably, magnesium may be an effective therapy for Alzheimer's disease. Undeniably. You think scientists say that word lightly? Undeniably. It's pretty strong for, scientists to say. So, where are we going? Let's see. Oh. Wait. Let me make sure this is the one I want to go over next. Yeah, we're about to go into the methods. We're about to go into topical and transdermal. Before we go into that, Joe, you can go to this one. I just wanted to go through. So the lactoferrin that we include, we're the only company that puts lactoferrin in a magnesium lotion. It's not a ton. It's not like taking a lactoferrin pill. But I mean, think about it. People be like, well, how do you know if you absorb a pill of lactoferrin? Well, you're supposed to get your lactoferrin when you're born from your mother's breast milk. So it's probably going to work. Why do people take colostrum from cows? If you didn't know, it's mainly because of the lactoferrin benefit in there. Why was camel's milk such a big trend? Because camels have the most lactoferrin in their milk, and it's 90% similar to human lactoferrin. Weird that camel's milk was such a big fad to help people for a while. Oh, and camel milk has extremely low levels of vitamin A, whereas cow colostrum is practically yellow in color. Tons of vitamin A in it. Okay. Anyway, these are just some papers on topical lactoferrin that I just found real quick. So we got, I don't know if this is a topical. So they're even doing topical eye drops of lactoferrin, right? I don't know why that highlighted like that. I don't really care right now. No. Oh man, what is going on here? Topical lactoferrin can improve stable psoriatic plaque. Well, that sounds pretty good, right? Got psoriasis, may be interested in that. There's lactoferrin levels in your tears. So if you have dry eye, not saying to put magnesium lotion with lactoferrin in your eye, but if you have dry eye, here's a funny thing. Vitamin A destroys the very tissues in your body that make your own lactoferrin, and lactoferrin is in tears. So let's just say, theory, you're not making enough tears. You're vitamin A toxic, so you don't make tears very well, and you don't put the lactoferrin in them. You got dry eye problems. Hey, wait, another connection to vitamin A toxicity. This is not having its, there it is. The efficacy of topical lactoferrin on wound healing in an experimental animal model of nasal septum perforation. Okay, well, this is just something that popped in my head. Maybe we could get all the cocaine addicts to just snort lactoferrin and fix their dissolved septum from snorting drugs. Anyway, that was just something that came to mind. Let me find this. Oh, so sorry. Let me get the link for this. This is just a search on topical lactoferrin on PubMed. So transdermal lactoferrin, just did a quick search here too. So you guys can use these searches if you want. Some of them are the same things. Transdermal administration of lactoferrin with sophrolipid. I have no idea what that is. I'm not looking it up right now. I'm guessing this was a topical study. Lactoferrin inhibits melanogenesis by downregulating MITF in melanoma cells and normal melanocytes. I'm going to guess that made a positive thing. Tanning, like if you are increasing your melanin production, folks, tanning is a toxicity state. Okay. We have people on the program who, as they become less toxic, they tolerate the sun better, their eyes tolerate the sun better, their skin tolerates the sun better, but they stop tanning. Well, a very funny thing on Twitter, Really Tan Man, he's like, he advocates tanning for everything, like actual tanning. Like you want to get, that's what he's saying, is he's saying you want to get darker. You know what he recommends that you have to have in your diet? If you want to get a really great tan, you have to eat tons of vitamin A. Vitamin A is crispy frying stuff, garbage in your skin. Like you are crisping and burning like a chicken. Why does your body try to get rid of your tan as quick as it can? Because it's a damaged state. I'm not talking about people's skin color here. They're your natural skin color. I'm talking about if you darken a lot in the sun, like if you tan very easily and very well, your skin is toxic. Because as you become less toxic, and we know you become less toxic and your health issues go away, you tan little to none. If you're one of these white pasty people like I am, you stop burning. It's pretty cool. It's really cool. And then you start to realize that, and then people say, well, first I burn and then it turns into a tan. You are crispy fried. That's what it is. You have crispy fried toxins in your skin, and that's what the tan looks like. Okay, so supercritical impregnation. So they're putting mesoglycan and lactoferrin on polyurethane electrospun fibers for wound healing applications. So they're making like patches, I believe, to put lactoferrin on it. Optimized transferrisomal bovine lactoferrin, cow lactoferrin as promising novel non-invasive topical treatment for genital warts caused by HPV. So anyway, that's just some stuff on lactoferrin. So now we're going to get into, Joe, you could probably just go to me. I think we're all done with the, let me open up a new window just so I can look it up. There, and now just so you guys know about topical magnesium, there's not a lot of research on it. People start going, well, how do you prove? A gentleman on Twitter the other day asked me, he's like, how much of your magnesium lotion do we absorb? And I was like, no one knows that. No one's doing studies. I'm not going to pay for a study to find out how much magnesium people absorbs when the evidence on hair tests and how people feel is so good. We're 20 to 30 years ahead of medicine here, folks. I'm not trying to make what will happen. Here's how science works. Science finds guys like me out leading the way in the real world. And then science goes, hey, let's study that. Science is always behind the innovators. Always. By definition, science is trying to prove that it works. We can have people in the real world, like my clients, where it's working. And my clients don't want to wait 20 or 30 years for just that one paper to come out that says that this works. That's not we're early adopters. We're innovators and early adopters, and we're leading the way. We don't have time to wait for that nonsense. Topical or transdermal magnesium works amazingly well. So now, let us go over some of the magnesium applications that I've found really work and the doses. So first, magnesium lotions. Before I go into this, magnesium lotion is generally, like I said, people are the most compliant with it. And it seems I'll put it this way, when people are more compliant with something, that's what I consider it to, and it works well enough. That's the one that works best. Because if you don't do it, it doesn't work. Guaranteed doesn't work if you don't do it. So if people will do it, well, here let me explain that. Some of the other problems with like magnesium oil. Some of you have tried magnesium oil, which is basically just magnesium chloride in water. It's called an oil, but there's no oil involved. It's just, it feels super slippery. Okay, so they call it an oil. Magnesium oil often causes tingling, stinging, itching sensation, or it just feels like you've got this layer of stuff on your skin and people don't want to sleep with it because they kind of feel hot. And it's like, there's a lot of things with magnesium oil that it's not very user-friendly. Or like, you're not going to use it on kids. So for kids, for adults, especially if you're, kind of sensitive in terms of how you feel on your skin, magnesium lotion is generally the best choice. Now, my old recommendation in terms of dosing, hold on one sec. I didn't get to do my sinus rinse this morning. This is terrible. It's not that bad. My old doses for magnesium lotion. So remember, my magnesium lotion is twice as potent as the other stuff out on the market. So my dosing is going to be different for my lotion, which I'll tell you, versus standard lotions that are out there. So I used to use a lot of LifeFlow magnesium lotion with my people. And there was issues with it, and that's why I wanted to make my own. But typical lotions, like that would be a typical magnesium lotion. The area that I want people to cover, like just with like lotion, like you moisturizing it. It's when it's the right amount, when you put on too much. This should not be that hard. So if somebody says like, how many teaspoons? I don't do that, because let's say you have a 400-pound person and you have a 110-pound person. Do you think they need a different amount of magnesium? Probably. So what we do is we do a surface area dosing. A bigger person's going to need more. A smaller person's going to need less. Doesn't that make sense? Instead of saying, my protocol has 200 milligrams of magnesium a day for everybody, no matter of their size. That doesn't make any sense. That's not medicine. Protocols are for people who don't want to use this. We don't do that. So normal lotions. These are different areas. I'm not saying you're going to cover all these areas once a day, every day. I'm saying you're going to pick one of these combinations of areas, okay? The most common, the one I start with, is your chest area plus your stomach area, your abdomen, okay? Shoulders to the top of your pelvis on the front, okay? That's area one. Once a day, you could do that. Or you could do these other options. Let me emphasize, or. It's not all of these. Now, next option would be your back. From the top of your shoulders to the top, from your shoulders to the top of your butt. Okay? That's about the same amount of area as the chest and abdomen. You following me? Or, since it can be hard to do your own back, you could do your lower back plus your abdomen. So then you can just go around, right? And then the final one, or you could do both thighs all the way around from your hip down to the top of your knee. Those are the 4 areas. So if you say, how many teaspoons do I use? How many squirts do I use? How many pumps do I use? I don't know. You can adjust this approach to a baby, and you can adjust it to a 400-pound person. That's the brilliance of it. Okay, that's the nice thing about the lotion. Now, one of the real benefits of our lotion that makes it different than everybody else is we have a pump. We have a fairly metered dosing. So you can just, if you know that, like, okay, so here, I'm going to tell you, our lotion is twice as potent as everybody else's out there. So those areas I just gave you, this is still in testing, but if I just did, like, let's say I wake up on my nightstand, I do 1 pump of this, and I do my low back, done. In theory, I'm still waiting on testing on it, just to confirm. But I'm going to say for most people, if you did 1 to 2 squirts a day of this, you're good. Now, I know our lotion is more expensive than others, and it's twice as potent, so you don't have to use as much. That's that. So that's lotion. If you're having stinging issues with any other lotion, I would suggest trying ours, because people have specifically said ours does not do that. People are really, actually, one of the first testimonials we got on the website was, they said, I don't know what you guys did to, like, buffer it or whatever, but it doesn't sting at all. And I was very, very happy to hear that. I have no idea if the lactoferrin plays a role or what magic. Sometimes I feel like God just gives me formulation magic. I don't know. Anyway, so that's lotion. That is the one I find is the easiest for compliance. So if you were picking one of these to start with, magnesium lotion is the one I would start with. And that's not just because we made the product. So now we're going to go into magnesium oil. Okay. Well, actually, first, let me get into this. If you're going to make your own magnesium topical products, whether you want to do baths, whether you want to do foot soaks, whether you want to make your own magnesium oil, or like your own, like, we'll go over aloe vera and magnesium, whatever you want to make. Like I said, I don't like Epsom salts. If you have Epsom salts, use them up. I mean, use it up. Don't waste your money. It's still magnesium. It's still probably worth it to use. But generally, I do not recommend Epsom salts. We do not want the sulfate, which is sulfur, which slows down the most important detox enzyme in your body, which is ALDH, aldehyde dehydrogenase. Don't. Just use it up. Actually, what I did when I figured this out, and I still had some left, I cut the Epsom salt half and half with magnesium chloride, which is much preferred. until I ran out of the Epsom salts, and then I just switched to all magnesium chloride. Like, I'm not a big fan of wasting stuff. Like, even when I had, toxic, rusty Himalayan salt, and I wasn't going to eat it, it's pink because of rust, folks. There's rust in it. I wasn't going to eat it, but I thought, you know what? I'll just put it in a bath. I'll do kind of like a salt bath with it. And then I use up a lot of it at once, and I don't waste it. Or I could have used it, if I live somewhere where it snowed, which I don't, I could have used it to like de-ice my driveway. But on the topic of sourcing magnesium chloride powder, most people come across the Zechstein flakes out there. The Zechstein magnesium chloride flakes they're okay. They're acceptable. They're not as clean as food grade magnesium chloride or USP pharmaceutical grade magnesium chloride. I prefer these days, because there's toxicity everywhere, for stuff to be as clean as possible. So I like either food grade or USP pharmaceutical grade. Now, USP pharmaceutical grade magnesium, if you start looking out there and you find like, is it BioWay, WAY, Bio something, I don't know, something like that. They sell food grade magnesium chloride. It's expensive, especially for like the amounts that you might use in baths. Like when my lovely daughter, who does like 30 hours of dance a week, and she has a really rough training day, and she comes home and she wants to use magnesium chloride in a bath, multiple nights a week. If you're buying the Greenway Biotech, it's not a bad brand. And there's other food grade magnesium chlorides you can find out there. They're not bad brands at all. They're just really pricey compared to what I choose to get. Now, wink, wink, I'm going to tell you what I choose to get. Whether you choose to follow me to save a ton of money on your magnesium chloride is totally up to you. You're making the decision. I'm just going to tell you what I do. There is a company out there. Let me pull it up. So again, this is what I do. Don't switch yet, Joe. Okay, Joe, you can go to it now. So this is Bulk Reef Supply, and they call it Pharma Magnesium Chloride. They're selling 7 pounds for $30. If you go on Amazon or you go to these other websites and you try to buy strict USP magnesium chloride or food grade magnesium chloride, you're going to be paying probably close to $25 or $30 for a pound. Now, what is different about Bulk Reef Supply? So I have talked to the company and I have said, is this food grade? Is this pharmaceutical grade? And they said, due to the methods or the way that they package it. I want you to, let me make sure I see this. So they say Pharma Mag because it is, I think it says down here, made with pharmaceutical grade ingredients. Wait, let me get the link. Yes. Made with pharmaceutical grade ingredients. There is one ingredient in it. There's one. It's magnesium chloride. There's nothing else. So it's made with pharmaceutical grade magnesium. Now, why do they not call it pharmaceutical grade? Because they say that when they process it, when they are packaging it, they don't make it, they buy it from somebody else. But when they are putting it into the bottles or whatever, maybe they use the wrong type of scoop. Maybe they just don't have it all in a fume hood or whatever. There's some requirement to keep it pharmaceutical grade that they don't maintain because they're selling stuff for use in coral reef tanks. So they don't worry about keeping it like food grade. Okay. But I want you to think about what they're doing. If you read reviews of this around the internet, if you go to reefing, I went to reefing forums and I read about it, and people were saying this is absolutely the cleanest magnesium chloride on the market. and they're putting it in tanks for fish to breathe and marinate in. Okay, so it better be clean, right? So, in my opinion, in my household, do I trust this product for, let's say, me or my daughters or my daughter or my family to take magnesium baths in, to make magnesium foot soaks in, to make topical magnesium oil, to do whatever with it? Yes. We have even chosen to, at times, make an oral solution of magnesium chloride as a supplement to drink. I'm not a huge fan of it. It doesn't taste very good, but we've done it. So, this is the raw material magnesium chloride that you can use for that I use for many things. Should you choose to save a ton of money, a truckload of money on magnesium chloride powder by going through this company, that is fine. The company will tell you, in my opinion, it is a cover their butt technique to not use this for any human type stuff. But somehow it's okay to put in fish tanks. So take that for what you will. I think the company's great. I appreciate the fact that they're covering their butt, just like I'm telling you that I use this magnesium chloride. I'm not saying it's a recommendation for you to use, but you can take this information and do with it what you will. Okay? So, Joe, we can go back to me. So now we're going to go to magnesium. Well, let's do magnesium oil. Magnesium oil is super simple. Magnesium oil is basically water and magnesium chloride powder combined. That's it. 2 ingredients. The simple recipe is you get a cup. You do equal portions. You do a cup of water, clean water, reverse osmosis, distilled, something like that. And even Kelsey, my guerrilla chemist, would say to boil the water just to make sure it's as clean as possible before you mix it. I don't do that. I mean, salt inhibits growth of things. And when you make a magnesium chloride is technically a mineral salt. So if you have this much salt in something, it inhibits the growth of basically anything in it. But what I'm saying is you would mix 1 cup of water, clean water, with 1 cup of magnesium chloride. That's it. Then you can put it in a spray bottle. You can put it in a dropper bottle and apply it that way. Doesn't matter. You could put it in a little thing you could pour into your hand, which is going to get messy. So let me give you some tips on how to use this. First of all, dosing it. Most companies sell magnesium oil in the, it's kind of like a bottle like this, but it's got the spray pump on it, like the hairspray finger pump. You know what I mean? Those little ones that, on your hair. So that I have a very good dosing on. So even if you wanted to go out and buy buy a previously made magnesium oil just to get the bottle so you could remake it yourself, that's a totally legit option. I still have a spray bottle from back when I used to use Ancient Minerals magnesium oil. There's no need. You have no idea how much you're overpaying if you're buying magnesium oil, like pre-made. You're just paying through the nose. It's like activated charcoal. If you buy activated charcoal capsules, I figured it out. You pay 13 times more per gram for charcoal if you're buying capsules than if you buy the powder. 13 times more. I'm going to guess that magnesium oil, a bottle of it for 8 ounces is probably $15, maybe $20. You can buy that whole thing of the magnesium chloride, the bulk powder, 7 pounds of it for $30. So the cool thing about magnesium oil is it is by far the most cost-effective method. By far. No doubt. Problem with it is, so that I gave you the standard recipe. Oh, and it can take a little while for the magnesium to dissolve. That's okay. If you use warmer water to mix it, it mixes faster. So there's that tip. It'll still mix if you do room temperature water. So then we get into the double strength magnesium chloride oil. That is very simply 1 cup of water, and you add 2 cups of magnesium chloride powder or flakes to it. Now, that is going to take a while to dissolve. You're going to have to shake it, probably like shake it, put it on the table, let it sit for a while so that everything calms down. Shake it again. Like, you don't have to sit there and shake it for a half hour. Give it some time to sit, shake it again, let it sit, shake it again. It will all go into solution. 1 cup of water, clean water, to 2 cups of magnesium chloride. Okay, that's that. So then, one of the problems with magnesium oil is that, okay, so let me explain. When you get stinging or itching or tingling from topical magnesium approaches, again, you ever put salt on a wound, like real salt on a real wound? It hurts, right? This is just the nature of the salt getting into, your nerve endings and the salt and all that. So when you are putting magnesium chloride, a mineral salt, on your skin, even if you can't see the dry skin, if you have dry skin, and it's even if you can't perceive it and it gets in there, it's a salt getting into and bothering your nerve endings. Okay, it's not hurting you, but it doesn't feel good. I'm not going to argue that it doesn't feel good. Oh, sorry, one last thing. If you're doing magnesium lotion or magnesium oil, or we might even talk about magcahol, if you're doing any of it and you put it on and you just absolutely cannot stand, this is an important thing. Let's say you just don't like the way it feels on your skin, but you're willing to do it for a little while, but then you want to wash it off. Leave it on for at least 20 minutes, and then you can wash it off. I want to make sure this is not misinterpreted. Do you have to wash it off? No. I don't know where people got this idea that you have to wash it off after 20 minutes. No, I never wash it off. I rub the lotion on my back and I don't wash it off ever. Until the next shower, right? But I don't worry about it. It's lotion. It's not a big deal. So, but if you really don't like, or if your kids really don't like it, or you're like, I put it on and it helps me sleep, but I don't like the feeling of it on my skin when I'm in bed, 20 minutes, once it's been on 20 minutes, you have the option of washing it off. You do not have to. I don't want you trying to schedule your shower around your magnesium lotion or oil. That's just silly. So now, if you are getting stinging or tingling or itching after topical magnesium applications, and this is usually only with the concentrated ones, typically magnesium oil, maybe magcahol, maybe bad magnesium lotions, your skin is dry. Now, how can we fix this? This is very easy. You can simply put some regular lotion, any lotion that you like, over. So you would okay, sorry about magnesium oil. If you're going to put it on, I don't remember the dropper amounts. I think Matthew Delafera, I know it's Matthew Delafera. He did a special post in the Love Your Liver program where he equated the number of sprays to the number of dropperfuls or drops. It was a great post. I'll have to pull it up sometime. I'll probably incorporate that into the magnesium update in the Love Your Liver program after this. But basically, put it in your hand. So like spray the bottle into your hand and then rub it on. Here's why. If you spray, the magnesium all over, you're going to miss and you're going to have overspray. And that overspray goes on the ground. And it's either going to start giving you magnesium crystals in your carpet, or you're going to have very, very slippery magnesium chloride. Remember, they call it magnesium oil on your floor. And you may go ass over tea kettle slipping on that. So here's what I do. I put my hand over the sink. I spray it into my hand, and then I rub it on. And then there is no danger from magnesium oil or overspray on my floor. Okay, this helps a lot. I used to go to a flotation tank where they have the big, huge tubs with like 700 to 1,000 pounds of Epsom salts in there. And they specifically laid out towels all across the floor for you to walk on, because they know that if you get out of that water and you're wet and you walk across anything tile or slick, you are just eating it. So save yourself that learning experience. Okay. So if you get the tingling or burning or itching, just put regular lotion on top of. So you'd put on the oil, and then you'd immediately put on more lotion. It takes a while for the stinging or the tingling, itching to set in, right? Like usually like maybe a minute or two before it really settles, before you really feel it. Don't put magnesium oil on freshly shaved areas, ladies. Especially if anybody wanted to use magnesium oil as a deodorant, which it works really well. If you haven't seen my video on this channel of what causes body odor, magnesium deficiency is one of the things that causes body odor. So people have found that different forms of topical magnesium actually works really well as a deodorant. You can put that in your armpits, but ladies, I'm just telling you, magnesium oil in your armpits after you've shaved them is not fun. It's not fun. Like when I used to do those flotation tanks I mentioned, they're like, don't come the day you shaved your legs, because you will just be sitting. It will be horrible. It will feel horrible. Or then they said, don't shave your face either for guys. Because why is that? When you shave, you're kind of taking off some of those top layers of skin, so there's less protection between you and the magnesium. So you get that salt effect. So that's why you don't do that. So other things you can do if the magnesium oil is causing you problems. You could dilute the magnesium oil further, make it weaker by just adding more water to it. You could do something like getting a really clean aloe vera gel, not juice, but a very clean aloe vera gel. There's only one brand on the market, and I don't remember what it is. They sell only like gallon bottles of aloe vera gel or bigger, but they don't have any of the latex in it. It's only the inner flesh. So you could add some aloe vera gel to it. Or this is a crazy thing. You can do the magnesium oil, and if you tolerate magnesium lotion, you can do magnesium lotion on top of it. So you could do magnesium oil and then magnesium lotion, especially ours, and then not have the stinging or tingling or itching. That was the weirdest thing when people started telling me, yeah, I put the magnesium oil on, and then you said I could put lotion on, so I put magnesium lotion on it, and now it works. And then I'd see their hair test, and I'd be like, this is really working. So that's magnesium oil. Okay. So then we get into Magcahol. Hope, if you wouldn't mind, or Joe, I need somebody to go into the network and get me the recipe for the Magcahol, because I want to say it right. So if you guys can go find that in the program. This is something that I made. So there is Magahol. Magahol is a combination of magnesium chloride flakes and a clear alcohol. I forget the recipe for that one too. So if somebody wants to post that one, that'd be great. Or maybe I'll just look it up. So Magcahol is something that we I think somebody else on the program came up with. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but it's a combination of magnesium chloride and potassium chloride and a clear spirit and water. Now, what I've been told, that happens when you mix magnesium chloride in water is it makes something like 16 different variants of compounds of magnesium bound to the alcohol. Hold on, let me send Joe a message here real quick. It is MAG-KA-HOL. Mag-Ka. The Ka, that's kalium, that's potassium. Is that in German or Latin? I don't remember. Mag-Ka-Hol. So that's how we changed it. Let me see if I can find the original. The original guy. Might as well give credit where credit's due. There we go. Haman. There it is. So, Joe, if you could show this. This is the original Mag-A-Hol recipe and they're giving credit here with the guy's name Haman. And this does work. It absolutely works. So they have where's the amounts? What do we have? Magnesium chloride flakes. They add glycerin, ethyl alcohols. They're saying 100 proof. It all works. If you use an 80 proof Costco, 5 times distilled vodka or whatever, it's clear liquor. The more distilled it is, in my opinion, the better, because then they're taking out more and more stuff. So they talk about how to make it here. Do not use isopropyl or rubbing alcohol. It's not that kind of alcohol. It's alcohol that is drinkable if you like to poison yourself. So now some people are going to say, well, why would you use alcohol, Dr. Smith? You don't like alcohol. I cannot tell you how well this works in terms of absorbing magnesium until you see a hair test. When you see the hair tests of people who use Mag-A-Hol or Mag-Ka-Hol, this stuff gets in the system really, really well. So then we get to decide, just like life is a bunch of choices, you get to decide, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is 20 sprays worth of, so this would be 20 to 40 sprays a day. That's the dose of like Mag-Ka-Hol or Mag-A-Hol or magnesium oil. These are all doses that work. So 20 to 40 of the finger pump sprays a day. Now, I will tell you that if you get one of those trigger sprayers, those put out huge amounts of fluid, and I don't know the amount of sprays on that. I just know the little finger pump sprays. So you can I'm not going to add glycerin to this. I've made this a bunch of ways, like just alcohol and magnesium chloride. That's basically it. So Mag-Ka-Hol, Joe, if we get the recipe up, if you find it, I may need to go look for it, but it's basically, well, it's in the Love Your Liver program. If we don't find it, no big deal. There it is. Wait, am I looking at your screen, Joe? I guess I am. Go find just the simple recipe. There it is. Now I think, yeah, so that's all the magnesium chloride and that's all the potassium chloride. So we get potassium chloride to mix with it. Now I do know this recipe down here, I do need to adjust it a little bit. You just need a little more water, like maybe 2 ounces more water, or the potassium chloride won't all dissolve. So think of it as the magnesium chloride can dissolve in the alcohol part. The potassium chloride will not dissolve in the alcohol as well. You need more water to get the potassium to fully dissolve. So that's why we use both. Mag-Ka-Hol is, people would assume that it would be more irritating to the skin. It is not. It is less irritating to the skin than magnesium oil. Never would have expected it until I tried it. I think Mag-Ka-Hol feels better than magnesium oil, and I know it absorbs better. So troubleshooting the Mag-Ka-Hol is the same as anything else. First of all, if any of these don't feel good, then don't do it. and we'll go over that. But if you can troubleshoot things, if you have dry skin or whatever, then you can troubleshoot them, or you can do other methods. So that's Magcahol. Joe, we can take that off now. If you want to put the link, Joe, to the network article for people who are members of the Love Your Liver Network, you could put that in the chat. But if you guys don't know, the Love Your Liver Network is a paid, it's behind a paywall, if you want to say it that way. I too like to have a roof over my head and food on my table. So would I give this all away for free if I could have that without, would I do this for free if I could? Yes. Does capitalism and the world allow that to happen? No. So I can't do that. At least not yet. Maybe someday. So, magnesium baths. Magnesium baths are very simple. You take a bath and you add 1 cup or up to 2 cups of magnesium chloride powder to the bath. That's it. Then you soak in it for at least 20 minutes. That's as hard as it is. Now, if you want less copper in the water, then you got to get a filter or you got to do all that stuff. I'm not talking about all the copper in the water and chlorine compounds and chloramine and fluoride. I'm not talking about all that today. If you are doing magnesium baths for your magnesium levels, I suggest you do at least 2 baths a week, 2 proper magnesium baths a week. So that would be minimum of 1 cup of magnesium chloride in the water, minimum of 20 minutes in the water. That's the minimum. Now, I will tell you on days when I'm really sore or really just tired or stressed out, I will make a magnesium bath and I will sit in there. I've sat in there for like 2 hours sometimes. I just scroll my phone and maybe get a little work done, and I just sit in there. I love it. So, potassium, you can add potassium chloride to a magnesium bath. Generally, what we recommend is about 1 tablespoon of potassium chloride in a bath. I want you to catch that difference. You are not adding a cup of potassium chloride. 1 to 2 cups of magnesium chloride. If you're sensitive, start with less. Don't jump in the deep end if you're sensitive. And then a tablespoon of potassium chloride, should you choose to add that. I think it's a great addition. So we got that. There's not much troubleshooting to do on that, other than don't drown in your bathtub. The basic stuff. So then we go to foot soaks. Some people don't have a bathtub. Some people don't want to use that much water. Some people, whatever. You don't want to do a whole bath, you can't do a whole bath, and you can do a foot soak. So you get a foot soak tub. I don't really care about if it's plastic or porcelain or whatever. Whatever you have, whatever works. Now just remember, if you are using plastic and you're putting really hot water into it, yeah, there's a possibility you're going to be leaching some of the plastic off of there. It is what it is. But a foot soak is about half the amount of magnesium that you would use in a bath. Joe was asking, is there a difference between chloride and chlorite suffixes? Yeah, we only look at chloride for magnesium or potassium. Chlorite is not what we're dealing with here. I'm not going to go into the chemistry here because I don't know it. So maybe Kelsey can go into that. But yeah, foot soaks, half the magnesium of a bath. So you do maybe half a cup to a cup of a foot soak, minimum 20 minutes. Now, if you're doing foot soaks to try to raise your magnesium levels, I suggest you do 3 of them a week versus just the 2 of the bath. Now, baths are really nice. Foot soaks are really nice. They're very comforting. They're very relaxing. But I'm just going to let you understand that like a spray of magnesium, if you made a magnesium oil spray with 1 cup of magnesium or even 2, that may last you months. Cost effectiveness. If you're doing a bath or a foot soak 2 to 3 times a week, you're going to be going through, like I just said, minimum was either a half a cup for a foot soak. So that means a cup and a half a week. Or if you're doing a bath, you're doing 2 cups a week. You're going to run through your magnesium very quickly. You're going to run through a lot of magnesium really quickly. It is more expensive to do baths and foot soaks because there's so much more water. So the magnesium is more diluted in the water versus the spray, which is just straight up a little bit of water and a lot of magnesium chloride. So that's that. Now, troubleshooting generally for magnesium chloride or topical magnesiums in general, any topical magnesium in general. We're talking about chlorides here. So if you don't feel good when you do magnesium chloride topically, there's probably a potassium deficiency going on. Magnesium and potassium have a balance in the body. Vitamin A depletes potassium or blocks potassium channels. Copper depletes potassium. Vitamin D supplements deplete potassium. Having high calcium levels depletes potassium. Like tons of things will deplete your potassium. So, and what are we trying to do to fight the calcium rise? We do magnesium. But when you do a lot of magnesium at once, which Topical's really good at bringing a bunch of magnesium into your system at once, you could kind of like, how do I say it? Like bring that potassium deficiency out of hiding more, like you expose it more. You're making the imbalance between magnesium and potassium bigger for a period of time. So it's not that the magnesium's bad for you, that you're probably deficient in potassium. So then what should you be doing? Well, maybe you calm down on the magnesium for a bit and you figure out your potassium. Anybody who works with me in the Love Your Liver program knows how much I talk about potassium. And I do think potentially that the nicotinic acid, the new articles in the Love Your Liver program, the nicotinic acid will help your magnesium and potassium balance. And yes, you can add nicotinic acid to your bath. Kelsey's talked about big things of niacin in the bath, nicotinic acid. When I say niacin, I mean nicotinic acid, nothing else. Not nicotinamide, not niacinamide, not anything else. I mean nicotinic acid. But you can add it to a bath. So we got that. There was one recipe on the internet that I saw that I always liked. I've never made it, but it was basically a cup of aloe vera gel. Like I said, I don't remember the brand that makes the good one, but a cup of good aloe vera gel and a cup of magnesium chloride flakes or crystals. And you just mix those together. The magnesium chloride will eventually dissolve into the aloe vera gel, and then you just kind of scoop it up and rub it on wherever. I have no idea how it feels. It probably works just fine, but I've never made it. So if you get out of a bath or you use the magnesium chloride spray or you use any magnesium chloride and the common responses to it when people don't get along with it, they might get a racing heart. They might get kind of irritable. They might have a little trouble falling asleep. So normally magnesium calms things down. But a potassium deficiency can often feel like it speeds things up, like you can't fall asleep or you feel kind of irritated or whatever. So it makes sense that if you get the magnesium and you're exposing that potassium deficiency, that you start to see potassium deficiency symptoms. So, like I said, in the meantime, you got to figure out, lower the magnesium, figure out your potassium. There is the possibility we've been figuring out that some people may have an issue with getting too much chloride. And this started to make sense after a while to me when I was looking at, you salt your food with sodium chloride. And if you're getting your magnesium from magnesium chloride, and if you're also using potassium chloride, potentially in your bath or in your spray or and you make 50-50 salt from what we're using there, there's the possibility that those three things combined could be too much chloride for your system. It doesn't happen that much, but I do think it does happen. So it's a theory. So it could just be too much chloride. So, oh, now someone was wondering, can you get the magnesium lotion from us by Christmas? That would be a question you'd have to ask Julie. We do usually ship it. What is it? Express, UPS, Express Mail, or what? Priority Mail, or whatever. That's how we usually ship it. So I'm gonna guess that. Oh, maybe, I don't know. I'm still having to catch up on getting a couple gifts for my kids, and I'm going, I don't know if it's gonna get here in time. We do what we can. So, is that all the topical approaches? Am I missing any topical approaches, anybody? I'm actually sending out magnesium lotion to some people as a Christmas gift. It's an easy one, right? Oh gosh. Joe's asking about enemas. I'm not going to get into enemas on this show. That's not something that is something I let people do on their own. I don't, you can get better. I have not done a single enema in the entire process. Neither has Grant. I have not been fasting. Neither has Grant. Like, a lot of the things that people out there think are necessary to do, you don't have to do them. They may speed things up for some people. Absolutely. I'm not saying not to do them, but I'm not trying to encourage people, it's kind of a one-way thing. It's kind of a one-way exit. If you don't want to put things up there, then you don't have to put things up there. So that's basically it. Let me go and double check. We're already at 12:10. Let me look and see. So if anybody has any super chats on, and so let's go over both sides. So yeah, N Rustica, magnesium needs if you eat dairy any different. Well, yes, that would drastically increase your magnesium needs to counterbalance, because vitamin A depletes magnesium. Like I said, I have a video here on that. Vitamin D raises calcium in the system. You can see it if you've never looked at a hair test of somebody taking vitamin D supplements, you should, because it's obscene how high their calcium goes. And let me tell you what you do on a hair test to fix high calcium. Well, first of all, you take out all the poisonous stuff like we talk about. But usually, let's say the calcium's a lot higher than the magnesium. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we need to get the magnesium higher than the calcium. How do we do that? Topical magnesium. Very easy. If you do it, and then basically they both start coming down together. It's like the magnesium kind of hammers down the high calcium by dissolving it and helping you get rid of it. You need magnesium. If you can't take it, you should be experimenting, just like I talked about with potassium. Different, if you're looking at food sources only because you're like one of those people that I work with often who can't tolerate any supplements. Well, let me tell you this. First of all, as people do our program, they eventually get to the point where they can tolerate supplements. So not only are they getting healthier, but then they can use things to help them become healthier faster. But we have people come to us who cannot take anything supplement-wise. Actually, one of the clients I was talking to the other day, she was only eating 3 foods. That's all she tolerated. And all of a sudden, we got her going a little bit on the nicotinic acid, and she's doing the other supplements, little bit of a couple other supplements that she tolerates, and now she's starting to improve drastically. You want to know one of the funny things she told me? She said, I used to take chromium polynicotinate, and I felt so much better on it. It wasn't the chromium, folks. Polynicotinate means that each chromium was bound to multiple nicotinic acids. She was taking a supplement of nicotinic acid with a chromium attached. And she was feeling so much better. And she was hesitant to start the nicotinic acid because of the idea of the flush. We talk all about the flush and how to make your own mineral nicotinates in the program, in the Love Your Liver program. So she said she does her own muscle testing. She was a little worried about the flush, but she tested the nicotinic acid that she already knew. This is a chemically sensitive woman, electromagnetically sensitive woman who has to live outdoors because she's too sensitive to anything inside of houses and stuff like that. Okay. Serious. This is serious health here. This is what we're working on. Well, she started on the she did a muscle test for the nicotinic acid because she was worried about it. And she said it was the strongest yes test she's ever gotten in her life. And I said, we already know that you reacted well to it, even though it was bound to chromium. Your own muscle testing, which she trusts, tells her it's the biggest yes she's ever seen, even though her brain is hesitant to do it. And she started on it, and she started feeling better like right away. She could add more foods. I think she was even thinking about adding more supplements in that quickly. Now, for those of you who may have heard of a bioavailable copper out there, all it is copper bound to nicotinic acid. It's copper nicotinate. And I could show you from their own attorneys work that got it the acceptable by the FDA status so they could sell it as a supplement. The copper and the nicotinic acid separate in the stomach acid. So you're just taking free copper and nicotinic acid. I'm going to tell you that the benefits of that supplement are coming from the nicotinic acid. It's not the copper. Don't take anything nicotinate unless it's bound to a mineral. And even still, the only way you're going to learn how to make that stuff is in our network, in the articles that were so graciously made for us by Kelsey. Okay. Eventually, hopefully someday we're going to be working on nicotinate minerals like magnesium nicotinate, potassium nicotinate, zinc nicotinate, molybdenum nicotinate, selenium nicotinate. We're working on it. I'm talking to my supplement guy right now, but please do not email Julie asking her when this is going to be available. We're still trying to source it. Okay. I let you guys know when stuff is available. I will say this, members of the Love Your Liver program get first access to everything. They got the magnesium lotion 1 or 2 weeks before we open it up to the public. So I think that's it. But magnesium needs if you eat dairy. Yeah, absolutely. The vitamin A depletes magnesium. Vitamin D raises calcium and so therefore and lowers potassium, which affects magnesium. The extra calcium in there's 4 times as much calcium in cow dairy as there is in human breast milk. It's way more than we are designed for. I'm going to tell you something. Maybe a lot of you don't know this, but the Rockefellers are heavily involved in the dairy industry. The Rockefellers and Merck are behind vitamin science that we're undoing now. So if the Rockefellers are real big on dairy, and I'm doing basically everything to undo dairy and the effects of the ingredients in it that are found in it are doing to the human population these days. I mean, here's another saying that we use that's applicable here. The poison always wins. You can't out supplement a medication, and you can't out supplement a bad diet. So like, let's say you were doing tons of dairy and absorbing tons of toxic vitamin A and oral vitamin D, which I don't like, and you got more calcium floating around, you're going to need more magnesium. Yes. But that vitamin A and that vitamin D is doing all sorts of things, like it's messing with your potassium levels. So you take more magnesium, but those things are all making your potassium levels go down. And that's a whole nother thing now you got to address. This is why the poison always wins, because it's attacking you. The key thing is to stop putting the poisons in so that you stop the attack. So the attack is going down. And then you bolster your defenses, your nutrition, stuff like that. Don't try to, you can't, as the saying goes, you can't out supplement a bad diet or you can't out exercise a bad diet. Well, it's totally true here. It's just like people who try to stay really fit and then they go and they drink too much alcohol every weekend. They wonder why they can't ever get the results they want in their fitness. Stop the alcohol. Things get amazing when you stop drinking. in terms of your physique. So, but yeah, that's the simple one on that one. Here we go. Zendog says deodorant lotion. I do not always smell good, but when I do, thank you, doc. Are you saying, Zendog, are you saying are you using the magnesium lotion as a deodorant? Is that what you're saying? If you could answer, that would be great. Mm. This is my nicotinic acid drink. All sorts of fun stuff in it. Magnesium nicotinate after reacting it, and potassium nicotinate after reacting it. Fun stuff. Zendog, you still here? N. Rustica says, I believe in hormesis. Dumps create swings. Hormesis is something that the pharmaceutical industry really wants you to believe in. Here's my question to you. Does anyone here believe that there is any human in the Western world today that is not exposed to enough toxins that they actually need to increase their exposure to toxins to somehow be healthier? Right? Who do you know who is exposed to too little stress that they need to expose themselves to more stress to be healthier? Now, I'm not going to talk about exercise in that because you need to move your body to be healthy. That's just the way it is. That's just like, get over it. Like, you need to move your body. If you don't move your body regularly, you're not going to be healthy. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. So I just don't like, and toxins, like when people will be like, I need a certain amount of toxins to stimulate my body to detox. No, I mean, do you need to put like bad air into your air filter in your car to make it run better? No, you don't need to put, I mean, our bodies are constantly making aldehydes, for example. We constantly make them. We make aldehydes out of all your neurotransmitters. Histamine makes aldehydes. Like, all these things turn into aldehyde forms. These are all toxic for us. You breathing air is oxidizing you and causing you damage. You eating food, you being alive, you are a garbage output, like an exhaust. You're making toxic stuff in you. You don't get to be alive without making toxins. This is the nature of the beast. So who says that our toxin production internally is not enough to keep things running? Like, there's no such thing as a glyphosate deficiency. There's no such thing as a mercury deficiency. There's no such thing as a lead deficiency. There's no such thing as a microplastics deficiency. There's no such thing as a forever chemical deficiency. There's no such thing as a pharmaceutical deficiency. But are we going to go with these ideas that we need to stimulate our immune system, which is a cleanup crew, with toxins to be healthy? Show me the person who has a deficiency of toxins. So, and Rustica says, enjoy your olive oil vegan ice cream. I didn't say that nobody could ever cheat. I didn't say that. I've never said that. I've never said that I was perfect. I never said anybody had to be perfect. Some people have issues with thinking they have to be perfect. If they're going to do something, they have to be perfect. Now, that's not my issue. That's their issue. We are trying to live within this world that has been created with or without us. And there's going to be times like I made a Thanksgiving dinner with stuff on it. And Riska saying, people eat dairy. That's what my question is. They do eat dairy. I don't know what your question is. Are they going to is somebody who insists on doing this program and regularly eating dairy is not going to get the results they want. They're going to be constantly basically dragging a weight behind them. They're adding toxins to the system. The first step of detox is to stop intoxing. If somebody consumes enough dairy that they are increasing their intake of vitamin A, let's say, over the amount of vitamin A that they're getting rid of each day, they're still accumulating vitamin A. It's just math, right? Whatever you can excrete. I'm telling people to eat less dairy. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Generally, yes. I am suggesting that dairy has been a problem in health for humans for a very long time. Most of it wasn't really evident because people were you realize that people were on the verge of starvation like their entire lives until like probably the early 1900s. Like, so of course dairy is going to be like, oh, it's so wonderful. It's calories. Dairy's like a protein shake in itself. You can just drink it and get tons of calories. Things that people do to survive can look amazing. Like, imagine you have a starving person and you give them some fat, like Weston Price, and they give these starving people, they're basically just getting calories, and they start, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Like in India, they think ghee heals people. It's like, no, they're just underfed. They're just starving, and you give them calories and they do better. It is amazing what giving people, this is what I tell people about the program, is if you are under eating, if you are not eating enough food, that is a guaranteed way to disease. Guaranteed. Have you guys even paid attention to how many of these fasting experts have gone all these years and ruined themselves? And then they're finally like, yeah, all this fasting, maybe it wasn't such a good idea. I mean, we were given this material body. We got to maintain the material body. You know, we can be a spirit in a sack of meat, whatever. It's cool. But we have this physical body for a reason. And that's to learn lessons that we couldn't learn if we didn't have it. So, do I think suckling from another animal species is in our design? No. It doesn't make any sense. Other animals don't do it. I love when people are like, but animals don't do it. And I'm like, animals don't suckle other animals. That's something that animals definitely don't do. You know, there's those freaky stories of like, you know, the kitten suckling from a dog or whatever. Okay, that's weird. Happens. It's survival. So, survival is very different. Like when everybody wonders, why does a lion eat the liver first? Because lions don't have really good dexterity with their hands. And so they tear open the abdominal cavity, which is the easiest to get into, and they get the liver, which is the largest piece of softest meat that they can get the easiest out of it before all the other scavengers come and start harassing them. That's why. Oh boy. Now I'm back in natural fallacy land. We'll see what happens here. We'll see. So, Ramon, what are the difference? If you want, look, Rustica, you want to eat dairy? Go ahead. Go ahead. It doesn't bother me one bit. I don't care. So, I want you all to understand here. I don't care what you do. If I stressed out over what people ate or didn't eat, I'd be dead. I am here to be a guide to help people who want to make their health better. Do I still eat dairy on occasion? Sure. Like I said, nobody has to be perfect. The further you get along in this, the more you can, you know, bend or break the rules a little bit. But if you do it too many times, it comes and it bites you in the ass. Just like anything, you know? So there's that. But yeah, like, generally, do I think less dairy in a human diet is better for people? Yes. We have people in the Love Your Liver program who used to just be like snarfing down raw dairy all the time. And they weren't getting better, and they had to take the raw dairy out of their diet to get better. And the raw dairy lovers just can't imagine. They think that these people must be lying, and they're not. So that's that. Ramon asks, Ramon's a regular super chatter. What are the differences, benefits, and disadvantages of fermented vegetables versus fermented dairy? Thank you, and Merry Christmas to you and everyone here. Yes. Thank you, Ramon, and Merry Christmas to you too. Okay. If one of the things that dairy is very high in, if it's cultured, or cultured vegetables or fermented vegetables are very high in, they're very high in lactobacillus. One of the potential advantages of cultured dairy is that these bacteria actually have ADH and ALDH, and they can pre-process some of the vitamin A toxins, the alcohols and aldehydes that are in there, so that you don't have as much load to work with. And it also puts bacteria into your gut that have ADH and ALDH of their own. So, not everyone, we go over probiotics and the different types of dysbiosis in the program. Some people try lactobacillus and they feel amazing. Some people try lactobacillus and they feel horrible. Some people try bifidobacteria and they feel amazing. Some people try bifidobacteria and they feel horrible. Some people seem to need a little of both to get their biome back to normal. These are the different dysbioses that we can have. Now, the driving factor of the different dysbioses is the foods that we eat, because to keep a bacteria situation, for better or worse, going, you have to feed it. What we eat is what's feeding it. So that could be another benefit of fasting, where people are just starving everything in their gut. I mean, who knows? But also you're starving the good guys. So like, this is a story of mine from my past, where I was going through learning all the health nut stuff, and I was into the body ecology diet, which they obsess over probiotic foods, cultured foods, fermented foods. They obsess over it. They think it's like 90% the answer to everything. I think it's part of it. But I would always try the cultured, I'd try the sauerkraut, I'd make my own, I'd do the kefir and all that, and it never sat well with me. I always felt really bloated. So I would stop doing those. I'd feel better. Well, magically, what's the approach we use here? Doc, it hurts when I do this. Well, then don't do that. So now that I know that like fermenting things, culturing things tends to really increase the lactobacillus in them, and with the work I've done in the Love Your Liver program and what I've figured out and put to work for people, is that I was a putrefactive dysbiosis type. Putrefactive dysbiosis, when they take lactobacillus, they don't feel good. Putrefactive dysbiosis, when they do bifidobacteria, they do better. Funny thing, this does not work for everybody, but I started doing more bifido, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, I could tolerate beans much better. I went, that's interesting. And I remember back in practice when I used to use a certain probiotic, maybe like 10 or 12 years ago, I give people a certain probiotic, and all of a sudden they were like, I can tolerate dairy now. That's weird. And I was like, I think that's pretty cool. Like, I like seeing people be able to tolerate more foods. It doesn't mean that everything's good for you. Like, if you had a car that can run on all sorts of types of gas, there's probably still going to be a type of gas that the car runs best on. But it could run on a bunch of gas. Why do humans dominate the planet? Because we can eat a bunch of things. It doesn't mean we should if we're after longevity. Or with longevity, let's just say that eating a bit less meat is a little better for longevity. Let's just now this is I'm going to show you both sides of it. Well, what happens when war breaks out? Do you want to be a skinny little non-protein eating person, or do you want to be a bigger, more muscular meat eating person? I know which one I want to be. I'm out here shooting gun competitions in the weekends and lifting. I'd rather have a little more protein. And if I sacrifice a couple of years on the end, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I understand that. But that's basically, the things that we deal with here. So if you feel better, what I tell people about cultured dairy, cultured vegetables is number one, do you feel better when you eat it? If you do, great. Keep consuming it. If you feel worse when you eat it, what do you think we should do? Stop eating it. It's not good for you. And then we get into the idea of how much do you need? Well, I've seen people out there quoting that like one forkful of sauerkraut or a swig of kefir has like 20 probiotic pills worth of bacteria in it. These are just rough numbers. So what do you think? Do you think it could be a bit of an overload if you go and you eat bowls and bowls and bowls of fermented stuff? Yeah, absolutely. You're taking like hundreds of pills of probiotics. Do you think it could cause a problem? Sure. There is this thing called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. You could shove too many probiotics down your pie hole. Absolutely. So what I tell people with like the cultured vegetables or the dairy, if you do well with it, here's how we could minimize the toxicity, let's say, in dairy, vitamin A, vitamin D, calcium, while still getting some of that probiotic benefit. You just have like a swig or like a spoonful if you're doing yogurt or something like that, or a forkful if you're doing sauerkraut, because it's worth 20 probiotic pills, right? You can save a bunch of money. You can not have to make the stuff, which is a pain so often, and you get all the benefits without potentially overloading your system with it. Doesn't that seem smart? This is what I try to do. And for me, I don't feel good on it, so I don't do them. I wonder about, basically fermenting or culturing is controlled rotting of food. It's controlled rotting of food. And then you start going, well, don't we want fresh food? Do we want fresh food or do we want rotten food? I don't know. I know fresh food is good. I'm not so sure. You put cultured vegetables in front of a kid and they're going to sniff it and they're going to be like, oh, it's disgusting. That reaction out of children is something that I pay attention to because they're closer to their instincts. They're not filtering out their instincts going, oh, this is a delicacy, where they've trained themselves to think that it's good for them when it may not be. So, like I said, if you're going to do it, make sure you feel good on it. And just a swig or a spoonful or a forkful a day is plenty. You don't need to just gobble it down every day. Okay? So, are there any other super chats? There we go. Nature Sound says how to make poop less sticky with mucus diarrhea. Okay. Not laughing at you, Nature Sound. It's just this is the world we live in. We will talk about poop here. We talk about poop. So, okay, I'll just hit on some of the things here. So sticky poop is often a sign of lots of bile in your poop. Now, this is not a bad thing, but that toxic bile is why are you getting diarrhea and mucus? Think of your body is making mucus for a couple reasons. One is you're putting toxicity in the mucus. You're trying to get rid of it. And two, the mucus is like a protective layer. Your body's trying to make a protective layer against that toxic bile that is basically coating your intestines and irritating the heck out of them. So, what we can do, so we can always go after a couple of approaches. One would be to soak up the toxic bile. Binders, generally. Now, you would need to experiment yourself, Nature Sounds, with charcoal or other forms of soluble fiber, whether that's oats or beans or apples, or probably not barley, because your gut doesn't sound like it's going to do well with barley. Barley is what we call the black belt of grains, and it will kick your butt if you're not ready for it. So, some sort of binder. Generally, when people have diarrhea or nausea, I tell them Like, get on the charcoal until you have that diarrhea under control. The only known, like, real negative potential side effect of charcoal is constipation. So if you're not, and we're talking like really bad constipation where people took an obscene amount of charcoal and they're probably already constipated and they just stop themselves up for days. Now that doesn't happen if you start slowly on charcoal and you're not being dumb about it. We don't get that problem. If you're having diarrhea, you're probably pooping more often. That's what goes with it, because toxic bile is what triggers us to poop. So the more bile you have, you're seeing the more mucus, which is more of a sign of like irritating the bowels. And then the stickiness is the bile. So we can recognize all of this. So charcoal would be one way to help. The other way that you might want to look into is there's a probiotic out there called Lactospore. Lactospore. Lactospore is a fairly unique probiotic, and some of their best research is on it helping with diarrhea. I've had multiple clients who had chronic diarrhea issues, and they started the Lactospore, and it was like within a week or two, it was gone. So that would be that. And then the last thing would be, if you're in the Love Your Liver program and you get to read about agitators and you learn about all the things that can trigger more bile dumping, if you're doing things that are triggering too much bile dumping, stop or reduce them. Spore, Corvette 57, Lactospore, Lactospore. So there's good studies on it with like severe depression and diarrhea together. And it's even got some studies on it helping with constipation. So Lactospore is with probiotics. This is the thing, everybody, with your probiotics. If you're going to do any probiotics, if they don't make you feel better, or first of all, if they make you feel worse, I don't care what the company's saying. If they make you feel significantly worse, stop them. I don't care what the internet says or the forum says, or this company says that we have 30 different strains of bacteria that you need in your gut. If you don't feel good on it, if you feel worse, get off of it. If you feel better on it, great. Take it until you don't feel better from it anymore. You're probably not going to be, if you do the right things, you're not going to be on it forever. That's the plan. So then the other thing is if you start on a probiotic, this is one of the few times I talk about this. If you start on a probiotic, and we have like these two lines, right? You want to see the benefits going up. And if you get any symptoms at the start, sometimes you can get a little symptoms at the start from probiotics. You want to see any symptoms at the start go down. Okay. So if you're getting symptoms, you want the bad ones to go up and the good ones to, you want the good symptoms to go up and the bad symptoms to go down. And that should all happen over about 2 weeks. Because when you start rearranging your gut bacteria with probiotics, there's a cleanup process that has to happen. So that's one of the few things where I say, like, if you get to 2 weeks and you're on a probiotic and you're still feeling worse with no benefit that you can figure out, or any benefit that happened at the start, it has faded away, stop. It's not the right one for you. If you want to learn more about putrefactive and fermentative dysbioses, then that's in the program. That's where I go into that. And if you want to know why you have a messed up gut biome in the first place, toxic bile theory. Episodes 53 or 71, start there. The Lactospore just seems to be like something that can go in, and if it works, so that's what I'm saying with Lactospore. You try it. If it doesn't work, that doesn't mean I was wrong. It just means it didn't work for you. Probiotics are like that. Probiotics are a try it and see. You cannot have somebody, I don't care if they do a stool analysis on you and they're like, oh, this is too low and this is too high. And you may take the exact probiotic that it looks like you're low on your test and it makes you feel terrible. Well, this doesn't make any sense. It makes sense in my world where I say, try it and see. It may or may not work. Be okay with that. We don't know enough about how the whole body works. The black box theory. If you don't know what black box theory is, right? You have an input You put it into a black box like our body. You don't know what goes on in there. People act like they know what goes on inside their body. They don't. And then you get an output. Input into the black box. You don't know what's going on in there, our body. And then you have an output. We only care about the output. We don't know what's going on inside the body in many, 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 many ways. This is why vitamin A toxicity is so obvious. People are like, well, what's the blood level? I'm like, people get better when they start avoiding it. I don't need anything else. It's pretty simple. So, let's see. Kelly says, born jaundiced, Accutane plus Retin-A to treat acne in high school, beef liver the past year till I found your channel. Oh man, this is quite a setup here. Cody, I'm sorry. I thought I saw Kelly. It's Cody. I don't know why my screen seems so light today. On magnesium glycinate and zinc picolinate 15. Dissociation / panic. Love your liver soon. Okay, Cody, I would highly suggest. So dissociative events. I've had people. I know I've had at least one woman with this. Very much like the big things I would be looking at would be vitamin A toxicity, which you're working on. There would be copper toxicity. And then the big thing that you'd want to read in the Love Your Liver program is you would want to start on the nicotinic acid as one of the first things you do when you go in there. That would be important. So glad to have you here. Glad you're figuring it out, because yeah, that's a lot of liver stuff between the Accutane and the Retin-A and the eating liver. Born jaundiced. Yes, this is so what if you got results in the beginning from the Accutane and the Retin-A and the eating beef liver, but then it suddenly at some point turned bad on you. This is toxic bile theory in action. When you had a bile problem, you shut it down with these vitamin A compounds. You shut down your production, but eventually at some point, this toxic bile is going to burst the dam and start leaking into your system. And then now we're here and this is what we do, is we get you out. So, yeah, I wish I had an answer for you other than like, just go in and work the program. Make sure to use the community, ask questions of the community. If you work with me or Nathan directly doing the testing and consultation, that's great. We can help guide you in terms of like supplement amounts and other stuff like that. And you get the 6 months of support with us to help troubleshoot. But that's in terms of, and then one other thing, I'll just throw this out there. It's actually, I need to move it to the new Love Your Liver program. But for those of you who don't know, in the old vitamin A detox program that's inside the network, there is the homeopathic detox therapy. That is an option that people can do. Very important to know in terms of homeopathic detox therapy, this is when I suggest it to somebody. Can you say that there is a medication in your history that you could say, after I took this medication, my life was never the same? So if you can say that for a medication, whether that's benzos, whether that's antidepressants, whether that's Accutane, whatever, if you can say that after I took this medication, my life was never the same, that's the one you start with. Probably the most, if it's the one that impacted your health the most, that's the biggest one to do. So that's just something that you could work on, but I would definitely get on the nicotinic acid. Absolutely. That would be the simplest thing. Even for those of you who are reading, who are in the network and you're looking at the dosing, even 25 milligrams can be very, very helpful. So don't discount the low dose. Don't discount the low dose at all. Okay. So hope that helps. I would get into the LYLs as soon as you can. The LYLs Love Your Liver, for those of you who don't know. Did I miss any super chats? Let me see. Wait, what is going on with my... Hold on. There we go. I moved the window. I couldn't see my little scroll bar. So let's see. Just going through the chat. So Zendog, I just don't understand your question. You said deodorant lotion. Now, so let me go over this. So if you're using topical magnesium, one topical magnesium I forgot to mention. Milk of magnesia. Milk of magnesia is typically sold in, drugstores. It is magnesium hydroxide in water. It is a powder suspension in water. It is not dissolved. It's kind of like I was talking to somebody about our zinc liquid today. Our zinc liquid is zinc picolinate in water. It's a powder suspension in water. It does not dissolve. It does settle. That's the way it is. It's a powder in water. You're going to see the powder in the water. It's not dissolved. You could use zinc sulfate and that dissolves, but I don't want you to use sulfur, so that we don't really use that. I don't even consider that an option. We are working on a better zinc liquid right now. I've been taking it myself, kind of still in process. But so in terms of the two things that help with body odor, zinc and magnesium, magnesium hydroxide, milk of magnesia. The ones you buy in the grocery store or the drugstore or the chemist, they tend to add bleach to it. You'll see it in there. Sodium hypochlorite, not sodium chlorite, but sodium hypochlorite. They are different compounds, and they may add some other things to it. And it's just magnesium hydroxide can be bought as a powder. And if you do the math, you can figure out how to make your own milk of magnesia at home. And again, just like making your own magnesium oil, super cheap to do it yourself. You're going to pay 10 times more probably, or more than that, to buy it mixed for you already at the drugstore. So, but yeah, milk of magnesia, you could put it on your hand and just rub it in your armpits. That works as a deodorant too. There's a lot of deodorants today now that are coming out with like charcoal and magnesium deodorants. My kids got one. Hopefully Kelsey will make something cool someday in terms of a deodorant. So that's magnesium helps with the actual creation of the body odor. I think I went over that on the video. Magnesium helps reduce hydrogen sulfide in the body. And you ever notice how, like as I talk about in the video, body odor often smells like onions? That's sulfur, folks. Your body's detoxing sulfur out of you. Don't eat a bunch of sulfur. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't see if Zendog said that he was using the magnesium lotion as a deodorant or not. I have no idea about that. It'll make your arms move real fast when you run. It's very slick, right? I think we're almost done. Yeah. I think that's all the questions. It's 12:51 where I am. So I'm going to wrap it up here. For those of you who have other questions, like remember next week, we'll do a different topic and we'll have other questions. If you want to get the magnesium lotion, it's available in the store. It is a really great product. I'm super proud of it. It came out really well. It was worth all the effort and time that went into producing it and all the different formulations. And oh my gosh. Anyway, so hope you all have a great week and weekend. And I will see you all next week. Get your magnesium. However you're going to do it, get it. Okay? Bye now.